Hey guys, I just got back from my first day viewing stuff at the Whiskey Creek Film Festival here in Medina. To record some thoughts. Now, I saw two movies today. One at 7 and one at 9:15. The early showing was Beast of the Southern Wild. Now that was the movie I was really here. If I was going to see any movie at this festival, that was what I was going to see. I've heard all the buzz, all the things about it. No, it's one of those movies that you've really never seen this kind of movie before. It's something completely out of left field. That's one of the real pleasures of coming to a film festival like Whiskey Creek. That you're able to see these movies that are just complete originals, complete distinctive original sort of things. The movies that very low budget, very creative, kind of like fantasy fable sort of thing. It sets in this community called the Bathtub. Now, the Bathtub is this sort of self-isolated bayou Los Angeles, or New Orleans, excuse me, New Orleans sort of community where people just live off the land, live together, and just spend their entire lives just in this community. And the movie's told from the point of view of this little girl named Hush Puppy. She's played by an actress named Wallis, who was 5 years old when they shot this thing about 3 years ago, and she just dominates the screen here. I mean, she does all the narration. She doesn't have a whole lot of direct dialogue to the other characters, but she does create this very distinctive, very original character. This entire movie is told from her point of view. One thing that I really thought was cool about this movie was that even though it's told from the child's point of view, it doesn't condescend to the child's point of view. I mean, lots of children's movies make the children seem like obviously like wise beyond their years. I mean, wise beyond their years or more intelligent than any person of that age group could make it seem. But this is a very realistic, very kind of ground level view of this world from the child's perspective. Now, the movie doesn't exactly have a plot in the strictest sense. It's like a series of events going back and forth with how these characters are surviving in this land. And survival is really important in the Bathtub because they're constantly afraid of flooding and water being breaching the levees that have been built to kind of like separate them into this area. And at one point they even express fears about these creatures called Aurons, these like giant wild boar type of creatures who are said to will one day release themselves upon the world and wipe everything out. These kind of like almost apocalyptic sort of creature things. Those are like the beasts of the Southern Wild you hear in the title. Yeah. But even though there are those elements there, like these big storms, floods, and how these prehistoric creatures start gradually making their way towards the Bathtub, that's not what the focus of this movie is on. The focus of the movie is on this little girl, and more importantly, her relationship with her father. Her father is played by this guy named Dwight who is just fantastic here. He plays him as kind of a solid, strong man who's like lived his entire life in this bathtub area and has raised a Hush Puppy to her entire life in this bathtub area and just doesn't want to leave at all. And this is his life. This is his place. And he can seem kind of cold at times. He can seem kind of harsh at times. But when you see this area where they live, this is a really wonderfully like visceral, real environment where they accept these people. You understand why he behaves that way. He's just a very strong character, and he's trying to raise his daughter so she can live her own life in the bathtub in the future. And we can tell why kind of kicked it into high gear in this movie because early on in the movie he seems to vanish for a day or so. When he comes back, he's wearing a hospital gown. He kind of has the hospital bracelet on, and honestly, we have no idea what any of this means. We kind of get the idea that she's probably never left the bathtub, doesn't even know what the hospital is because all their medicine stuff here is homeopathic. And everything that and we gradually realize that her father is very, very sick, and he doesn't want to know it. He tries to hide this from her and weep. But all this stuff, since it's told from the girl's point of view, we know nothing more than she does, which really makes this a very engaging experience to see how we learn these things the way she does and how we put ourselves into her shoes. Now, another one of the major sort of driving forces of this movie is her relationship with, or these thoughts of, her mother. We never really directly see Hush Puppy's mother here. We kind of see kind of her back and kind of like shades of like from Hush Puppy's memories or her perceptions of her mother, because she never really knew her mother. It's actually implied that her mother almost left Greta long after Hush Puppy was born, but she still has this kind of like mythic image of her mother in her head that she seems to feel that she needs to live up to in some way. She needs to find a way to prove to her father that she can be as good of a person as her mother was. And even though we never see her mother, she's just this like driving force throughout the entire background of the movie. I mean, Hush Puppy talks to her sometimes, like in her head. She kind of has this old Michael Jordan jersey that she kind of symbolizes her mother that she'll talk to sometimes. She'll imagine what her mother was like, and there's this great moment in the last part of the movie where she actually goes to find a woman who might maybe be her mother, but really doesn't. After a while, we realize it doesn't matter, because that's when she realizes that she needs to stop worrying about living up to her mother's image and then start to try to live up to her father's expectations. And that's really what this movie is about in many ways. Just about living your life as is, trying to become the best person you can, because in a community like the bathtub, you have to live in your own way to live with everybody else. And let me just say, although the majority of this movie's focus is on Wallis and Dwight Henry, the other actors we have, like most of these people are probably, they've never really acted in a movie before, but they just feel so real, so tangible, so visceral in this place that you completely believe everything that's going on there. They just seem to know this place from the inside out, which is really remarkable in the movie, because it's sort of fantastic setting. And also, one thing, you might think that with this kind of like New Orleans-esque environment, with the fears of the levees breaking, with flooding, that this could be it can hammer in a political or environmental message, but that's really not the case either. I mean, they don't really blame anything on humans or pollution. It's more along the lines of this sort of thing they see as something that they inevitably have to deal with and that they just have to work through. It's a very, very low-key and humble way of getting the message across, and also creates a large focus on the family, which, as I mentioned, is really what this movie is about. Now this is not really a conventionally plotted movie or a conventionally shot movie, a structured movie, so it really does have a very indie, very kind of going on as it goes along, sort of feel to it. And I really feel that this is a movie that will grow on you. I just saw it a couple of hours ago, and I'm still thinking about it. I feel that this is one of the movies that you really do need to see more than once to really better appreciate, because once you have a better idea of what you're in for, then you'll know what to expect, and you can kind of look at the things around the main focuses and get a better sense of what the movie was. But yeah, this is a very, very good movie, unlike anything you've seen before. I say if you can find it, check it out. It's well worth watching. Watch it for Quvenzhané Wallis. She's probably going to the Oscars this year with a Best Actress nomination or Best Supporting Actress nomination if the Academy is feeling stupid. And Dwight Henry, I really think that the power of his performance could get him a Best Supporting Actor nomination, but and everything else in this movie is good too. The direction is really, really cool, as I've mentioned, how it handles the fantastic elements in the little girl's point of view, and also just the music in this movie is breathtaking. I love it. One of the best score I've heard this year so far. But still, yeah, if you're going to see any movie of Whiskey Creek this year, although it was the first movie I thought, if you're going to see any movie of Whiskey Creek this year, make it Beasts of the Southern Wild. That's what I'm saying right now. I won't be surprised if I stand by that statement by the end of the weekend. Now, the next movie I saw today was To Rome with Love. This is the new Woody Allen movie. Now, it's really kind of a weird experience watching a Woody Allen movie right after a movie like Beasts of the Southern Wild, because Woody Allen movies are just like so, like Woody Allen movies. You kind of know what to expect if you've seen a few of them. Now, I only have seen a few Woody Allen movies. I've seen every movie he's made, I believe, since 2005, except the movie Whatever Works. So, the only real earlier Woody Allen movie I've seen Everyone Says I Love You, so I'm not exactly versed in the whole Woody Allen thing, but I do enjoy his movies. I think they're really cool. I kind of like his kind of like visual style and his dialogue and his characters, but To Rome with Love is just it's an enjoyable movie and just a really strange movie. I mean, this does not have a conventional plot at all. It just follows this huge cast of characters and they just have their adventures in Rome. And it's not so much a single plot. It is a bunch of short stories stapled together into one larger canvas. And you basically can't talk about this without talking about the actors who play the parts. Woody Allen himself is in this movie. This is the first movie he's acted in a while. He is married to Greta Gerwig, and he plays a father who's going to Rome to visit his daughter's fiance, and he eventually tries to come up with a way to turn her fiance's father, who is an undertaker with a great sour-singing voice, into his opera star, because that's what the Woody Allen character did. He's a retired opera director and music producer and stuff like that. Then we have a subplot following a young married couple young Roman married couple who are in Rome on their honeymoon and planning to move to Rome to live their lives. I can't recall the name of the actors because both of them are Italian actors, but through various funny events they get separated, and the husband has to pretend that this call girl played by Penelope Cruz is his wife, while the wife gets lost in Rome and eventually finds herself starstruck by this big Italian movie star, and they kind of get pulled in separate ways and find themselves in conflict with their feelings towards these new people they met and their feelings towards each other. Then there's the story involving a middle-class, just average schmuck guy played by Roberto Benigni. You might remember him as the star and director of that movie Life is Beautiful that won a couple of Oscars and couldn't best actor for him. He plays just this average middle-class guy who completely inexplicably becomes the most famous person in Rome. That's kind of amusing. And then the other subplot involves Jessie Eisenberg plays an architect who's living in Rome with his college student girlfriend who invites a friend of hers, played by Ellen Page, to live with them for a while after she broke up with her boyfriend, and eventually Jesse Eisenberg finds himself becoming more and more attracted to the Ellen Page character. And also, the kind of amusing thing about that subplot is that Alec Baldwin shows up playing an older architect who just kind of showed up to talk about everything that Jesse Eisenberg is doing wrong. The kind of funny thing about that is that I think that the Alec Baldwin character might have actually been funnier if they didn't give him any context whatsoever. I mean, he does play this. The reason Jesse Eisenberg meets him in the first place is because he recognizes him from an architecture journal and he kind of invites him to hang out for a little bit, but that doesn't really explain why he keeps showing up, basically to talk about all the bad things that Jesse Eisenberg is doing by being tempted towards the Ellen Page character. I think it might have just been funnier just to have Jesse Eisenberg talking to than just Alec Baldwin walking up in the background and just spouting this stuff. Almost like he's from the Captain One commercial or something, but that's just a little nitpick. And the context barely matters. I think it might have been more funny if it was more inexplicable, because that's really kind of the line to use when describing this movie. This is a very inexplicable movie. It's like a romantic farce played broadly the entire time. It's very amusing. Doesn't really amount to anything, but it keeps your attention through the movie. The performances are all good. Woody Allen plays kind of standard Woody Allen-ish nebbish character. Greta Gerwig is sarcastic psychologist wife who basically is there to deliver these one-liners to him, to launch his own crazy ideas. The actress who plays his daughter is quite good, as the actress who plays his other actor I should say, who plays his other fiance, also very good, although they're not given that much to work with. Jessie Eisenberg, as you might imagine, is very well suited to Woody Allen's dialogue, just as she was well suited to Aaron Sorkin's dialogue in The Social Network. And Ellen Page is quite good, although the fact that Alec Baldwin keeps pointing out her character flaws makes her borderline unappealing at times, but she's very good here. She's of course very pretty. She and Eisenberg have really good chemistry in their scenes together, and then the other subplots, the ones involving the young Italian couple and the people who they find themselves drawn to, are amusing, in that the young Italian man has tried to pass off this obviously tall girl with Penelope Cruz as his wife for various farcical reasons. We at one point actually go on a tour through the Vatican with her kind of in her call girl dress, which I think that's really funny. And then the story involving the young wife of the Italian couple is less amusing, because for the most part we're just sad and nervous for her because she's lost in Rome. And then when she meets this Italian movie star on the set that she just kind of wanders into because she's lost, and he starts to seduce her, he starts to feel that he's going to seduce her, even though she's attracted to him, and he does make a very good charismatic Italian movie star. It really just kind of feels just a little bit unappealing, and that character's part of the plot, probably the least satisfying of the entire bunch. But yeah, in many ways, the heart of this movie is a story about the Roberto Benigni character, the guy who finds himself inexplicably famous, because this kind of goes back to what I was talking about, the Alec Baldwin character and the lack of context, because we have absolutely no idea why he's famous. They don't even try to pretend to explain why he's famous. He's just a schmuck who works in an office, has a wife and 2 kids. Just one day he walks out of his house and a whole bunch of reporters just start taking pictures and asking questions, taking everything he says as a gospel, which is very, very funny and just totally inexplicable. And it's classic comedy. He's just befuddled the entire time. He has no idea what to do. Just a classic comedy there. I found that very, very amusing, and just as long. And that's basically what this movie is, just following each of these individual plots as they go about and try to develop themselves. But one of the weird things about this is that some of these plots seem to last over weeks or even months, while other plots can only realistically have handled within a day or two. And so we don't really get a sense of the interplay between these plots because the individual characters never interact. I mean, we never see, say, Jessie Eisenberg interacting with Woody Allen or Roberto Benigni talking with Alec Baldwin or the Ellen Page here. And, I mean, these are self-contained stories in the space that chopped up in segments and intercut with each other. That does mean that sometimes you're watching one story and then you're wondering what's happening with the other one because you're just kind of interested in seeing how these different characters play out. Overall, this isn't the best Woody Allen movie I've seen by a long shot. I mean, it's just classic, just amusing comedy with a bunch of funny characters getting into farcical situations. There's nothing particularly distinctive about it, but just cinematic fun, cinematic, human comedy comfort food. If that's what you want, and you like these actors, there are lots of talented actors with funny dialogue in this. That's what you're going to get from this. You pay to see a Woody Allen farce in Rome, and you get a Woody Allen farce in Rome. And so those are the 2 movies I saw today. I'll be seeing a bunch of movies tomorrow, so be sure to stop back in. I'll let you know what I thought.